Hello and welcome to the Extra Mile. I'm Linda Boudreau. Our guest today is Ann ARCENEAUX. Ann is with the GIlDED Lily, which is a design and consignment shop in Baton Rouge where they design and make absolutely beautiful jewelry. And today we're going to be talking about brides, and it's a very good time of year to be talking about weddings and brides and what's going on in the bridal industry. So Ann, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Miss Linda. It's so good to be here, be with you again.
Yes, we had you on before, and we were talking about Bella and the bride and the comb and all that, which kind of led to us inviting you back because you have such beautiful, beautiful jewelry,
thank you.
and just, it's kind of exciting.
It is exciting.
It's very exciting.
Well, you know, when a girl always dreams of her wedding, and so
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a big deal, and it's really wonderful to be part of that. And we have a lot of new trends in the bridal industry right now. So what I thought we might talk about today was a little bit about what the trends have been and kind of where they're going.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
And so, you know, I can't speak for everything, but I'm talking about the accessories. And of course, in order to decide on what the accessories are going to be, of course, we have to talk a little bit about what are the dresses like.
Yeah. So what are brides wearing this year?
So, what kind of has started setting the trends for 2012 was what happened, the big weddings that happened last year.
Okay.
The big weddings that happened last year, of course, were the royal wedding.
That was
that was the big wedding of the year, and Kate Middleton wore a dress with sleeves. So, of course, that has kind of started setting a trend of sleeves. Another very big wedding, but a fictional wedding that had the dress had sleeves was, of course, Bella in the Twilight movie Breaking Dawn. Bella had a long sleeve gown. So those two very high fashion weddings kind of started setting the trend for a lot of the designers to come out with dresses that have either cap sleeves or long sleeves or bell sleeves or things that dresses with sleeves that we haven't really seen much of lately. In the last probably 10 or 15 years, of course, the strapless bridal gown has been the most popular gown.
Okay.
And
that's kind of moving out now?
Well, it's still a fashionable thing to have, and I think girls will always, you know, there'll always be some girls that are going to want strapless gowns. We've seen that change a little bit. The strapless gowns were very straight across for a while. In the last year or so, we started seeing strapless gowns with a more sweetheart shape, which is very popular right now. The sweetheart shape, or a little more of a V-neck, or a crossover with ruching, which is, you know, when the fabric is kind of gathered up.
Right, right.
Very flattering to the figure and hides the sins of some, but these young girls don't have much of that. Most of them are very thin, and you know, everything is where it's supposed to be still.
Before the wedding, they may have partied, but they still look good.
Oh yeah. Well, we have a little joke about it when sometimes the mother of the bride and the mother come in, and they might get a little crosswise with each other, but we always say it's because they're hungry. because everybody's dieting before the wedding, you know. Exactly. So they're hungry. But so with that, you know, with many of these new weddings, you find that the designers are doing different things. Of course, they're always looking for something innovative, something different, something that someone hasn't done before. But these big weddings, like for instance, it was not a long marriage, but the wedding was a big. Everybody was watching, was Kim Kardashian.
Right.
And
you
Kim.
Have a picture of that.
I do have a picture of Kim. One of the things that she did was she brought into vogue. This is it here. Kim is in her wedding party. She has a bridal headpiece on, very similar to this one, that came across the head. Lauren Bush also wore something similar to that. So it started they started designing a lot of headpieces that actually would, you know, kind of do this.
Okay,
So
and it's really very attractive.
it is very pretty, and you know, it's kind of interesting. And this is, you know.
Now you make pieces like this.
Yes, this piece is handmade. Of course, this has Swarovski crystals in it, and it has pearls. But you could have a piece like this made as large as you want, as wide as you want, with, you know, pearls or gemstones. You could have color.
That's beautiful.
So it also, this type of thing could be done, it's very pliable. So you could, braid something and make, something, anything that you want, really, actually,
yeah. Okay.
So that just gives you an option.
Now you make all that, huh?
Yes.
I'm
yes,
really impressed, Ann.
Well, thank you, dear. We have lots of wonderful little, we call them our elves, and wonderful designers at the store. We each bring like a little something different to the mix. But once the bridal, picking the bridal dress is usually the first thing that happens.
And everything else
centers around that. Yeah. So
I just want to talk real quickly, because we were talking before the show started. White is still the primary color for bridal dresses, but some brides are wearing black or even red, huh?
It's quite interesting. In fact, Vera Wang came out with three dresses in her spring line that are all black. And I recently went to a beautiful wedding recently that was an outdoor wedding, and the bride wore red. And it was a traditional wedding gown, but it was in red. So I think what the trend is that to encourage brides to reflect their own personality and who they are in what they wear and what kind of wedding they have. Another big trend is having destination weddings. Yeah. So a lot of people are having the destination weddings, and of course that changes the tone of the type of dress they might choose and the type of accessories they choose.
Exactly.
They're going to want something that's lighter weight. They're going to want something that travels well, and that's easy to walk through the sand in.
Yeah.
Something that's not real heavy, and the accessories usually are going to be something that's going to be lightweight, sparkly, maybe something to do with shells if they're on the beach, or just depending on what they do. Most of the time they're not wearing veils. That brings us to another big trend right now, is that the brides are often not wearing veils at all, or they're wearing bird cage, or they're wearing something like this flower over here.
We're going to get a shot at the flower. And the bird cage look you were saying earlier kind of came from the royal wedding, is that right? They're going to get it. There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
So now, how does that work?
That just clips into their hair.
Okay.
And they also can have a bird cage veil, which is just a little cap, almost of a hat, that covers part of their face. And I don't know if I can get a shot of this, but
I'm going to try to get a shot
if you can't, it needs to go this way. There we go.
Let me not turn her upside down. That would not be good. So this is just another thing that brides are wearing, and
so that's the bird cage. So in other words, that veil, very sophisticated, and very. I think they take that from the Hollywood glamour days.
Works. Absolutely.
The Hollywood glamour days. So, a lot of they're doing this type of bird cage thing, and then doing the classic pearls and the kind of Coco Chanel look with long strands of pearls,
Oh, those are wonderful.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Can be, doubled, tripled, or knotted, or,
you want,
lots of things that can be done with this.
So you can buy your strand of pearls and decide how you want to fix them.
Exactly. Okay. We had a bride recently that did, we had like 4 different types of necklaces. Seed pearl necklace with like 10 strands. Then she had a single strand of 6mm pearls, and then she had a 50-something inch long strand that she knotted, and she wore all of that.
It looked good?
It was fabulous.
Good.
It was fabulous. So again, just another trend I think just brides are now more encouraged to anything goes. Those strict rules that we used to have, where, they had to wear white, or they had to not wear white, or they had to, they had to have a certain kind of shoe, and they had to have their hair a certain way, and, all these different rules are now, it's more of encouraged that's their day. They're spending a lot of money to have this wedding, and they want it to reflect who they are and what they like. And so, in doing that, let's move on. I think it's a good
Right.
place to move on to the earrings, because I
the
think
earrings
that's
are a big deal, aren't they?
the earrings are a very big deal. Once they have chosen the dress and they start deciding about the jewelry, the first thing it seems like they always talk about is what kind of, let me pick the earrings, and then they'll work the whatever else they're going to wear from that. And so I've brought a lot of different styles of earrings today to kind of give people an idea of all the different types of things that can be worn. This is the Hollywood glamour look that we talked about, the big, if you can see these.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, those glitter.
Yeah, and so, and these are all more in the straight, kind of straight lines. And then this is what we call a chandelier look. And this happens to be kind of a petite chandelier, but there are some that are very big.
Okay, so
you know.
you can go from small
So
chandeliers to
you
big
can go from something as small as a stud earring, a
Okay.
diamond or a pearl, very traditional classical, classic stud earring, to a dangle, maybe something like what I have on, that maybe not quite so big, but I mean something that dangles that's not huge, or to something very, very big. Because if they have a big dress and they're in a big venue, and especially if they have long hair, they're going to want something that really
It'll really pop out.
that pops out,
Okay.
So something on this order or this order. This is another type of chandelier, but it's not quite as long, because when brides are choosing earrings, it's really personal. They want to go with something that goes with their dress, but they don't want to feel uncomfortable.
And they have that veil and all the other stuff that's
Right.
going to be going on.
And they, and sometimes they don't have a veil. So
Yeah,
we have
that's
to
true.
work with,
That's true.
if they have a veil, if they don't have a veil, what type of headpiece they're wearing. A very popular thing right now is the barrette, which I think this
That's
is
a
a gorgeous
gorgeous
one, isn't it?
piece.
And this one actually a lot of girls are wearing their hair half up and half down, and this actually can be used to fasten the hair and as the ornament.
Ooh,
So
that's
it's
beautiful.
really beautiful. We do this often also, and depending on, they're wearing a lot of belts with bridal gowns now.
Really, belts.
Rhinestone and sequined sash type belts
Okay.
that they're added to the dress. And so if they have pearls in those, then this, you could add pearls to this too, which would be very beautiful.
So you can actually custom these pieces to look like you want them to look.
Absolutely. We can use a piece that's already done and add to it, or we can start from scratch and do something that's, just totally whatever the, kind of the sky's the limit. If you can imagine it, it can be done. But there's a lot of glamour going on, like very wide cuff bracelets are really stylish
that.
right now.
That
I
one
know,
just
isn't that
is
pretty?
so much
Look at this
fun.
on you. Look at that. And that one's so easy to wear.
Look at this.
Isn't that gorgeous?
It really is.
So
wow, that's really
sparkly. This comes in
yeah.
silver and in gold, because we're in a.
It's
For a while,
absolutely
we were only
beautiful.
using mostly white metals. Girls, the ones that were getting married, girls under 35 were mostly wearing white gold or sterling silver jewelry. But yellow gold is coming back quickly.
I love yellow gold.
It's very pretty, but there were girls that just would not wear it.
So, but now they will.
But now we have, we have gold purses and gold shoes and gold belts. So the gold accessories, you can choose from silver or gold, and sometimes it's a mixture.
Yeah.
So this, again, we'll go back to the barrette, but there's also the other trend would be a headband for the headpiece. Something could be very simple, just a rhinestone headband, or here I'm showing how we could embellish this to have it be a pearl and rhinestone headband. Just depending on, and that's just a very simple look. Just.
But very pretty.
Very pretty, very simple. Some girls are wearing this alone, or some girls are wearing this with their veil.
And we want to talk about the bellicomb. And let's just say that you are the designer. Your company. You designed the
Corman and I created. We created the design for the bellicomb, and we
which
now
was used
have.
by Hollywood in the movie.
Yes.
Local folks.
This is exactly what Bella wore in her hair. This comes from the same mold. It is. It has faceted CZs that are look like diamonds and those that look like sapphires. They have 58 facets, just like the real thing. So they're very sparkly, and they're all hand set in this beautiful fashion comb. And this one can be worn by itself, or it can be worn with the veil. Bella wore it.
Let's show a picture of Bella in her veil. For those of you who are Twilight fans, you're going to be familiar with this. Those of you who are not Twilight fans.
And this was, again, while you're looking at the comb, I want you to also notice that the dress. This is the back of the dress. Carolyn Herrera designed this dress, and she really embellished the back of the dress, which is so intriguing because really, for so much of the wedding, you see the back of the dress.
Yeah, and this is a movie, too, and
yes.
So they definitely wanted it to look good.
And so, again, here's the long sleeves that we talked about, and this is a good time for you to mention that lace is very trendy this year, and has been,
there's a lot of lace in this dress.
A lot of lace. Lace is, heavy lace on the skirts, lace on the sleeves. Sometimes, rather than a full sleeve, they're going with a little cap sleeve, and so all of that has to do with deciding, what am I going to wear in my hair? Am I going to have, is it going to be a long cathedral length veil? Is it going to be a T-length veil? Am I going to keep the veil on the whole time? A new trend is for them to have 2 dresses.
When do they change?
They change at the reception, and they wear the bridal gown at the wedding, and then at the reception, they at some point after they've received their guests, they go and change their clothes, and usually they will dance after that.
Okay.
And they'll have a short dress maybe, or a less formal dress, and they'll take their veil off at that time, and so that's where they really want to have something sparkly and something nice in their hair.
So something like that would stay. Okay.
Yeah, so it would just stay in their hair afterwards. So any of these kind of things, a comb, a barrette, a headband, tiaras are back in style again, especially since the royal wedding. That again brought back that, people looking back at Princess Di and, all the royal weddings that have occurred where they wore the
So I guess
tiaras.
part of what this is about, or part of what happens, is that when those high-profile weddings kind of set the trend for the next year.
They do.
So
they do. And they're not always that, we had, we don't have a royal wedding every year, so it's often more than just one year.
Okay.
It just starts changing the trend. But I think the main thing that I would say is that it's going towards really encouraging it in the bridal gowns, in the venues, in the accessories, is encouraging the brides to come from who they are and really have it be who they are. And for, like I said, if you're very artsy and all, and you want to wear a red dress, and a red dress says who you are, then a red dress is what it is.
You can get married in red. Now, we have some of these beautiful necklaces here, too, and we haven't talked about the necklaces, like the one right down next, there you go.
This one in particular is kind of a bib-shaped necklace, and which has become very popular in the last couple of years. This one actually has color, and it could be a beautiful for a bride, but it also would be a beautiful mother of the bride.
Because the mother of the bride counts too. Yeah.
The mother of the bride is very important, and can also come in and bring, their dress, and pick out have something specially made to go with their outfit or whatever. But this is a great style for a mother of a bride also. A similar necklace to this, if you want to scan all the way back to the other end, is a bib type necklace for the bride.
And it's at the very end.
It's at the very end there.
So the one that we were talking about is more of a mother of the bride necklace, and the one that we're going to be looking at next would be for the bride. Give us a second to set up the shop because it's a long table. There you go.
It is. Yeah. So you can see that it's a similar style, but this one is.
Now, why is that one down there better for the bride and the one we looked at before for the mother?
Well, I think because, for one thing, that it's larger and it has more of a statement.
Okay.
The mother of the bride wants to look great, but she doesn't want to outdo the bride.
No one should outdo the bride.
So the bride is the statement, and so that's a statement piece. And right next to it
That lovely little pearl necklace?
is a single pearl that's a very odd shaped pearl.
I really like that one.
Isn't that
That's
interesting?
a really nice.
So that would be a good like destination for for a bridal destination wedding, an accessory piece for that.
Okay, so if you're going to get married by the ocean, that would be your.
See, it kind of gives you a little feeling of a shell.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and
what about estate jewelry? Because sometimes the bride doesn't necessarily want a new piece.
That's right, and it's very. One of the things I love about what we do is we're always working with heirlooms. We're either creating an heirloom, especially with the pearls, or we are refurbishing an heirloom. And lots of the brides want to wear something that their grandmother it was their grandmother's, or it was their great grandmother's, or it's their mother's, but it's not exactly the style they want. And what they like to do is have us help them incorporate it into something so it could be a pendant, and then add a necklace to it, have a design where you're actually using gemstones or pearls or crystals and then have this pendant. And I did bring a couple of pieces. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a shot of those or not.
I think we maybe can.
They're on the table.
Those gold pieces lying on the table. Those are some heirloom pieces,
yes.
right?
And I brought that to show how you can take something that you already have, mix it with something else. But a lot of brides, it's a great time to really show this sentiment, especially if you have you may have lost your grandparents and want to be able to honor them and show that you're wearing something special on your wedding day that belonged to your grandmother, your great grandmother.
So what's going on with those pieces?
Those pieces are the larger looking piece. The chain itself is called a book chain, and it is called that because the links of the chain open and close like a book. So it's very different. It's from about the late 1800s, and that type of chain is always you usually has either a heart or a locket, or this is a larger piece on it. So that could be something. And then the piece next to it is another Victorian piece that has pearls and garnets in it, and that would probably be more for someone that the one on the larger piece for someone who is a little more showy and wants to they're comfortable with something big, and the other piece would be more for someone that just wanted something light and beautiful but not overpowering.
Okay, so those are estate pieces that people could just buy and add to their own
they can buy
collection,
and add to their own personal collection, or they can bring in their own.
And
we can find earrings and a headpiece and help them do the whole thing. I did want to mention quickly before we end the show that this is one of the pieces from the Jackie Kennedy collection. And what more traditional for a wedding than the 3-strand pearl necklace with this one is a rhinestone clasp, but of course Jackie's was diamonds. But we do have this collection of the Jackie Kennedy Onassis.
Is that coming back too? That kind
very
of 60s
much
look?
So. Yes, very much so. Never really went out, but is all of her. They've done some replicas of many of her pieces of jewelry, and so that classic look is another exciting thing to have.
Now down at the end, also, I don't want to let today end without. I don't know how well it'll show up, but you have a black necklace.
Yes.
Oh, never mind. We're going to just tell people that we have a black necklace because we're out of time.
Okay.
When would you wear a black necklace at a wedding?
Well, it could be for a mother or a mother of the bride or a bridesmaid, but it also could be for a bride because brides are wearing black wedding dresses these days.
Absolutely true.
And that's a tassel necklace, though. That was one of the things that I wanted to say was tassels are another very popular thing. I really hope that I gave you a little just glimpse of what's going on for the trends for 2012 in bridal jewelry. And if you have any questions, feel free to call us at the Gilded Lily, and we would be glad to answer questions or help help brides kind of get an idea of where they need to go with what they have.
Because, in some ways it's almost overwhelming. There's so much, and it's so pretty. And I guess part of what I heard you say indirectly today is that brides can trust their own instincts and trust their own preferences, and if they love it, then that's really all that matters.
Absolutely.
Am I right on that?
Absolutely. And what we try to do is try to help them make a good choice that's going to be comfortable and beautiful and tasteful.
And they don't just have to wear it on their wedding day. Something you might want to
That's
wear
right,
for the rest
something
of your
that they
life,
could wear
for the
forever.
rest of your life.
So-
And thank you so much for coming over.
Thank you. I had
back
such a good
from Baton
time.
Rouge, and we're going to see you again later because we're going to have another show with you about pearls. But
We'll
today,
look forward to it. Thank
today
you
it's
so
about
much,
the
Linda.
brides. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And thank you for watching The Extra Mile.